We're joined by NBC News White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist, our Melanie Zanona on Capitol Hill, along with a pair of MSNBC political analysts, Republican strategist Rick Tyler and Democratic strategist Basil Smikle. So, Aaron, first, on the markets, the president issued a reprieve on some of the tariffs, but this is not having a positive impact on the market. What exactly is the latest on this?
Well, Jose, we know that the markets don't like uncertainty, and there's still some of that as it relates to what these tariffs are going to look like, both coming from the United States and from our neighbors to the north and south. We know that President Trump yesterday decided that he would allow a bit of a pause for automakers in particular as it relates to these tariffs for 1 month. So that would give them some more time to sort of build in plans for this tariff or for a deal to be made between the United States, Canada, and Mexico that would keep this 25% tariff from going into effect and, in effect, raising the costs of automobile production and the costs that would eventually be passed on to consumers. But there is still some uncertainty about exactly how all this is ultimately going to play out. We know that the Mexican government is still looking at the potential for it to institute similar tariffs on the United States. The Canadians have made the same effort on their end, knowing still that the president has spoken with the Canadian Prime Minister. There were signs that that call was amicable, although it didn't change the reality in terms of the math on all this. And then there's potentially a call with the Mexican president happening this week as well, Jose. And so I think that uncertainty is still something that the markets are dealing with, and that it seems to be having some impact on what the numbers look like coming out of the Dow, at least at this point in the morning. And
so, Aaron, now to the issue of the Education Department. Can the executive abolish a federal agency?
So the new Education Secretary, Linda McMahon, acknowledged during her confirmation hearing that Congress would need to get involved in order to eliminate, to totally do away with the Department of Education. She seemed to indicate then that her goal really was to make sure that there were more efficiencies as it relates to what the federal government does with education policy, with education dollars, with education programs. We saw a message come out from the new Secretary of Education where she essentially said that she is aligned with President Trump in wanting to send education back to the states, send the responsibility for education back to the states. You can see part of her message on the screen here, and she says, "This is our opportunity to perform one final unforgettable public service to future generations of students. I hope you will join me in ensuring that when our final mission is complete, we will all be able to say that we left American education freer, stronger, and with more hope for the future." She said that the act of restoring education responsibility to the states would be one that would impact both staffing, budgets, and operations at the federal agency. Jose, it's worth pointing out that we don't know exactly when this executive order may come down. The secretary seemed to indicate that it would take months for her to reorganize that agency, to change how it operates, with the goal still being to make sure that certain services, programs are still exist for students, but she suggested that they might be better handled under other agencies, not this 4,000-person federal agency that is the Department of Education.
And Melanie, I mean, there have been efforts in the past on Capitol Hill to eliminate the Department of Education. What are we hearing about this one?
Well, as you mentioned, it does require an act of Congress to abolish a cabinet-level agency. And even though Republicans have cheered the idea of eliminating the Department of Education, this would be usurping some of their power. Now, Trump can do other things, as we saw with USAID, to effectively shutter an agency, such as freezing funding or moving some of the functions around. So we'll have to wait and see what this executive order does. We also don't know when it's exactly coming at this point. But this is just another example of how Congress has allowed the new Trump administration to take away some of their own power and responsibility. I mean, there is some discussion right now of a so-called rescissions package, which is essentially a package of spending cuts as a way to codify some of these DOGE cuts and some of these DOGE moves. But by and large, what we've seen from Republicans, from the leadership on down, is that they are okay with the new administration really just taking away some of their spending powers and some of their decision-making here.
Yeah, I mean, Melody, it seems as though they're in sync, the House, the Senate, being majority Republican, and the executive on these different policies. Now, Rick, Republicans have been talking about elimination of the Education Department for some time now, right? I mean, but outside of the GOP, polls show it's not popular, at least from, for example, this latest Marist NPR poll, 63% of Americans oppose or strongly oppose it. This includes 64% of independents. These are the oppose the elimination of the department. Do you think that this politically could backfire?
It absolutely could backfire because this is a political process. The Department of Education has been opposed by Republicans and particularly conservatives since Jimmy Carter initiated the Department of Education many years ago. And it was a rallying cry during the Reagan administration. And the problem is that people hear when you want to eliminate the Department of Education that you don't care about education, you don't care about kids. The truth is that I don't know why McMahon said return the responsibility back to the states, because, in fact, the responsibility already resides with the states. Most of the funding for education comes from property tax and local communities. You have thousands of school board members, school board superintendents, and they control the curriculums and the funding for education in the states. So we can argue about whether the Department of Education, what its function is, or whether it needs to be reformed. I would say it does. I think a lot of the government does need to be reformed, and this is the thematic that we're seeing all over the place. And I'm surprised it's taking this long, because you can liken the government to an assembly line in the industrial age when it required thousands and thousands of people to make it work. And you can't just go and fire people from that assembly line and because production will come down to zero because of the way it's worked. A modern assembly line takes dozens of people because it's all been automated. And despite what Trump wants you to think, these jobs didn't go overseas. They've been automated. But the government has been hopelessly behind the private sector. And now it's sort of coming to light that there is so many inefficiencies in the government. I, however, do not believe that the average federal employee is either lazy or unproductive. I just think they work in a system that is so antiquated that it needs to be updated so it works like a modern assembly line and not like an industrial or agrarian assembly line, and then we can make some real progress. I don't think this is the right way to go about it. I think you just start firing people, you're going to run into some real problems, and there will be a disaster along the way. And then you have, coupled with that, as you just mentioned, Jose, is the political problem. If you have 63% of the American people, which I would call a pretty strong majority, who do not want to abolish the Department of Education, because what they hear is that you are against education, you are going to have a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, and Basil, you actually teach a class on federal education policy, the president and, others. And Rick was just saying about how this has been a theme, right, among Republicans, especially going back, Reagan, right after Carter started the process of creating the education department. But this whole issue of it's time to send the money back to the states, let them who are the best equipped to know what their educational needs are for their state. The federal government does, however, fund education for the different states. And we're talking about, tens of millions of dollars. What is the role of the education department?
Well, sure. And to be clear, at most, it's 5% of the federal budget. So we're not talking a lot of money when you consider the entire federal budget.
It's still billions.
Yes, but again, 5% of trillions of dollars in the federal budget is not something that I think most voters would say would be in and of itself wasteful. When you think about, and Rick is right, when you think about the way that the education department is structured in education broadly, yes, most of the decision making is at the state level. That majority of the schools in our country are paid by local property taxes. And yeah, curriculum is in many ways controlled by local school boards. Mm-hmm. So to me, what this argument is, it's not necessarily about actual education, because what the department does is it collects data on whether or not curriculum actually is working for our students. It tries to associate school districts and states in cobbling together what the best practices that are occurring across the country. And of course, the president can use the Department of Education for his or her bully pulpit. But what this really is about is returning to states' rights. And why is that critical? Because particularly after Brown versus Board of Ed and during the Civil Rights era, you had a lot of southern states use the issue of states' rights to create segregation academies, to keep African-American students from going to school with white students. So there were ways to, quote, privatize, even within the public school system, schools and districts, so that you could keep integration from actually taking place. And if you remember, during the 2020 debate, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden actually got into a little tiff around the federal role of education
and busing.
And Kamala Harris was saying the federal government needed to step in. Joe Biden kept saying, well, it was a states' rights issue. But both are correct in the sense that when states weren't following the federal mandate, individuals, families would have to go back to the federal government and the courts to get them to enforce. So when you close the Department of Education, you close a lot of that enforcement to make sure that something like integration and the Supreme Court's interest in pushing for integration gets followed.
And yet, Basil, much of the progress that was handled, and we let's never forget those images, right? Of, starting with Governor Wallace to JFK's role in guaranteeing that that little kids could go to school. That was before the Department of Education existed.
That's exactly right. Ruby Bridges in that famous Norman Rockwell painting, right? So all of those images that we see of young African Americans trying to go to school, the Department of Education in many ways was set up to make sure that what was decided at the Supreme Court and what we believed as a country was important to integrate students would be enforced.